When it comes to ICP, do I like what I'm seeing as of right now? And also, am I still thinking about the idea of maybe $100 when it comes to the price at least? The answers to both of those questions is yes, even though nothing I say is financial advice. Now, I'm going to address the first question, which is why I like what I'm seeing. And my kind of rationale behind that is because not too long ago, when I was talking about ICP, the price was slightly below $3. Now, it's slightly above $4. In the grand scheme of things, does this matter that much? Well, I think there's still ways to go, maybe, because, even not too long ago before the pullback, ICP was above $18. But besides that, which is, over four times this, but again, when I take a look at, what I'm seeing as of right now, I still think it's good progress because let's face it, a lot of other projects I'm holding in the past 48 hours, they're not really doing that much. And I don't really expect them to do that either because I don't think we are in an altcoin season. But I still like what I'm seeing nonetheless when it comes to ICP because it's kind of having a little bit of its own independent rally, so to speak, right? It's not such a drastic move. It's not like ICP is $6 or something like that, at least at the time of this recording. But I'm saying, seeing that pretty good move, like again, slightly below $3 or slightly above $4, it's not bad. Especially again, when other projects are really not doing that good whatsoever. And again, ICP is kind of doing this. Now, some people may be thinking, oh, there might be a pullback. Well, who knows? I can't control the market in any way. But, even if, let's say, ICP has a pullback and it stabilizes around $3.50 or something like that, or even, let's say, maybe it stabilizes around $4, I still think it's not bad, nonetheless, if it does that. Right now, only time will tell. But I'm saying, if it does do that, I wouldn't be disappointed, even though $18 is clearly still over a 4x from where ICP is as of right now, at least at the time of this recording. But besides that, when I take a look at their own computer, sometimes you like to say, okay, what caused this? Now, I think there's a lot of possibilities, but I think maybe could it very well be sort of tied to the fundamentals of the internet computer? Well, I think arguably, I wouldn't see why not, because if we consider the internet computer, I get it. There's a lot of competition out there. There's Solana. We take a look at the BNB Smart Chain. There's Algorand, there's Avalanche, we take a look at how there's the Near protocol. I mean, there's a bunch, right? And when it comes to all those projects I mentioned just now, I think nothing really amazing happened to them as of late in terms of the fundamentals. Like, for instance, yeah, sure, they've done good things historically, but I think as of late, there's really nothing I can say that, oh, wow, take a look at this thing happening. But when it comes to the internet computer and things surrounding, Dfinity, I could kind of take a look at Caffeine AI and say, yeah, I think that is a pretty big thing that happened to it. And I think arguably it's actually the biggest thing that's happened to, kind of the whole vibe when it comes to Dfinity and the internet computer. I think in the history, I would arguably say of its existence because let's face it, even though ICP's been around for quite a while, I think nothing has been quite as, dynamic as Caffeine AI. Also, when it comes to things surrounding Dfinity as well. I really do believe that because it may not be a big narrative as of right now, but it could be different months later if, let's say, maybe we do see an altcoin season. This is just my perspective. If, let's say, there was an altcoin season, sometimes people take a look back at this, right? Sometimes when people believe in a project, they take a look at what it's all about. And again, maybe if they see Caffeine AI, it could be interesting to a certain extent because it's a self-writing apps platform. It can allegedly help developers create applications using AI. So that's pretty interesting. And again, sometimes you like to say, okay, Caffeine AI is not really doing much, but like I mentioned in one of my previous videos, there's already over 700 applications built with Caffeine AI so far. And are we in an altcoin season? I don't think so. Especially considering how the attention when it comes to Caffeine AI isn't necessarily the best as of right now. So yeah, I feel like that's a pretty impressive achievement, and I think maybe that could very well be a testament as to how special that is. And I think sometimes people often ignore, when it comes to their computer, the aspect of how it can supposedly connect Web 2 and Web 3 without oracles. And now this is alleged, but the way I take a look at this is that it's kind of impressive in the grand scheme of things, because if we take a look at something like Chainlink, for instance, right, it's heavily focused on oracles, and it's very well known for, again, it's a decentralized oracle network. And here's where I think things become a little bit more interesting, because if we take a look at an oracle, it's basically a data feed that brings data from off the chain, so that's called off-chain data, and then it brings that data over into the blockchain. As a result, this helps many decentralized applications function properly. But if we think about it, there's thousands upon thousands of decentralized applications which is why I think as a result, something like Chainlink just became very popular. Because again, a lot of these decentralized applications do need, in some cases, off-chain data. But then the internet computer kind of steps in and says, you know what? We can connect Web 2 and Web 3 without oracles, bypassing that process. Now, is this going to make the internet computer necessarily bigger than something like Chainlink? Who knows? But in the kind of 1 or 2 month time frame, I just don't see that, right? I mean, Chainlink's just very massive. But it doesn't mean that it's going to make Chainlink obsolete either, but I still think it's something pretty impressive when it comes to the aspect of the internet computer, because again, it's just very interesting in my perspective. And I get it. Sometimes people like to say, oh, when it comes to DFINITY, they're not really doing much and all this. Well, I highly disagree with that, because again, we take a look at what kind of things have been going on so far when it comes to the internet computer and just things kind of surrounding it. I wouldn't say that they're doing such a bad job, because I think it's actually pretty good. And while we see some other projects out there kind of give up, I just don't see any signs of that when it comes to things surrounding the internet computer. When it comes to DFINITY, I just don't see that. And now when it comes to the idea of $100, it is around a 23x from here. There's still ways to go. I totally understand that. But at the same time, at a market cap of around $54 billion, it's still nothing that would necessarily surprise me. Still around $30 billion less than Dogecoin's all-time high market cap. Around $50 billion less than even what BNB achieved at one point back in 2021. So I just don't think it's something that ridiculous. I mean, again, when I just take a look at the caliber of something like the internet computer, I just kind of feel like it's not such a bad project to me. I get it. Some people like to say, oh yeah, take a look at the price pullback, but still, the recovery as of right now, slightly, I would say, not too much, but still, I think it's kind of a testament to how kind of interesting the project is, maybe to a certain extent. And I think what I'm seeing as of right now is kind of an example as to why I never go all in, and also why I never try to outsmart the market anyway, or try to find the perfect time. Because when I take a look at something like what I'm seeing as of right now, like for sure, of course, I still believe in the internet computer, and I was still even talking about it, right? And I was still dollar cost averaging, but was I able to know the exact moment in time it did something? Absolutely not. I mean, how can I know that ICP was going to have this pretty slight recovery as of right now, like in the short term, right? I'm not going to be able to find that perfect exact moment. So I think that showcases how, personally for me, I'm not about trying to find the perfect moment. I'm just more so about trying to prepare for the moment. So if, let's say, something does wake up, it's kind of like going along with the ride. It's just by just accumulating, holding, and just waiting. If something does happen, it's just going along with the ride. It's not having to try to find the perfect moment. Now, clearly, I'm not telling you to do anything. This is just personally my perspective. But when I take a look at their computer, I must say I like what I'm seeing so far. And I am still thinking about the idea of hypothetically $100. It doesn't mean it will happen, but if, let's say, there was an altcoin season, it wouldn't necessarily surprise me. When is there going to be an altcoin season, though? I don't have the answers to that question, because I can't try to find the perfect moment. All I can do is literally just wait and stay patient. If there's even going to be an altcoin season, it's going to happen whether or not I want it to, right? I can't demand it to happen, So whenever it does, I'll just be waiting and staying patient and just staying prepared, and that's pretty much about it. However, nonetheless, I still like what I'm seeing so far when it comes to ICP, and I'm still excited to see what it could maybe do moving forward. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you all have a nice day. I want to say thank you for watching. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.